Zakah, fasting, both. And then you fast, zakah, and then hajj al-bayt liman istata'a ilayhi sabila. And his Prophet Muhammad tells you that the foundation is one. These are the 5 main pillars. It's one of them is weak. It's hush. It's not fortified properly. What's going to happen to this building when an emergency happens? When 9/11 happens and everybody takes off their hijab, shed their beads, change their names. Because they're scared. Or they're weak. Their iman is weak. Because the foundation is weak. Right? The foundation is weak. So it's the foundation of Islam. And right comes after the Shahada. When Sayyidina Umar sent Sayyidina Muaz ibn Jabal to Yemen, he told him, what? You know, some of us right now, we see someone who's not practicing Salah Muslim, oh, you gotta come, oh man, you gotta do this, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do this. We overwhelm them as Islam is this big mountain is gonna come and crush their lifestyle. But that was not the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nor the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sent Sayyidina Muaz go to Yemen, called him for what? For Tawheed. Ask him to embrace, to say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Then he tells them, if they respond positively, tell them what? Pray. If they agree, tell them to fast. If they agree, tell them to pay zakah. If they agree, tell them about hajj. There's that sequence. Right? There's that order that needs to be in place. And he in another, hadith, he tells Sayyidina Muaz ibn Jabal, shouldn't I tell you about the most important thing in life? Ra'sul Amri, that the most important thing in your life is your faith, al-Islam. وَعَمُودُهُ الصَّلَاةِ. Alright? The pillar that holds your faith is not the scarf, it's not the beard, it's not the outer look, but this salah is that pillar that holds your faith. So if it's not done on time, if it's not done consciously, if it's not you're not paying attention to it, it's regularly combined, on a regular basis we delay it, then we got something wrong with our foundation. And guess what? If you don't get up to pray Fajr on time, you combine your salah regularly, this is not a Zionist conspiracy, guys. This is our own fault. And it's not your mom's fault that you did not get up to pray Fajr. It's your fault. It's our own mistake. When we say 50 to 75% of those who come to masjid delay salah on a regular basis or combine it or don't make it. It's not someone else's fault. You're allowed to pray anywhere you want. But it has to be internal. I realize right now that, dude, man, after I say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, I got to pray. You know why? Because Prophet Muhammad tells us that the first thing that you will be judged about, asked about on the day of judgment, he says in the meaning of which, your feet will not move a step on the day of judgment before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks you about your salah. فَإِن صَلُحَ صَلُحَ سَائِرُ الْعَمَلِ كُلِّهِ. If it's sound, if it's healthy, that means you prayed attentively, consciously, on time, you did the prerequisites properly, you made sure that you captured the fara'id in salah, then صَلُحَ سَائِرُ الْعَمَلِ كُلِّهِ. All of your good deeds that's going to come after that, they'll be good. وَإِن فَسَدَ. And if it's corrupt, rusty, ill, diseased, not done on time, not consciously, combining, delaying on a regular basis, right? Then فَسَدَ سَائِرُ الْعَمَلِ كُلِّهِ. Then no matter what you've done, good you did, it's all wasted. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes tells us, sometimes it's in Surah Al-Kahf. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ those who they're doing good deeds. But it's a mountain of you could say, it gets destroyed in front of their faces, blown into their faces. It's no use of it. So salah, it is highly important. And it's more important than fasting. Not saying that fasting is not important, but in terms of what comes, if you want to have a step, I make shahada, I need to start praying. What happens in the Muslim world right now? Ramadan is the most celebrated thing in the world. I'm not saying nothing against that. But you see people fasting and not praying. It's because we don't understand. And what I'm trying to say is that we need to understand. I understand what it means. I understand the importance. So you can't be, well, it's not UCI. You can't be working till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning on a Islam awareness week, and then you miss Salat al-Fajr. That's the wrong thing to do. Because we don't have the proper understanding in place. That's one priorities. Or I have a business meeting, I'm going to make money. Who's al-Razzaq? Is Allah. So we got to put that in mind. So I know what it means. I understand. I'm just giving summaries, all right? The importance in Islam, and then I want to tell you about the virtues. So what's in it for me? What do I benefit when I pray? What do I get out of that? Prophet Muhammad tells one of the companions, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, one of the memes like, صَلِّ فَإِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ شِفَاءٌ. Directed by Imam Ahmad, I believe it was. Pray, there's a cure in salat. There's a cure. And many, throughout the years, you know, that probably the spiritual cure aspect of it, that you feel that tranquility and peace. He says, جُعِلَتْ قُرَّةُ عَيْنِي فِي الصَّلَاةِ, that I feel that peace and tranquility and when I'm praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because, you know, he's speaking to his most beloved, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reading the holy book, the Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that intimate relationship, he's really engaged in it. Right? But he says, you know, صَلِّ فَإِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ شِفَاءٌ. Prayer should act like a cure for you, not a burden. Right? And that's why you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that إِنَّهَا كَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى. It's difficult and heavy except for those who are concentrate on something. So that's from the spiritual perspective. How many of you know Tariq Abdul Wahid? Okay. Good. So we have some old geezers like me. So Tariq Abdul Wahid is the NBA player, or the first French NBA player who joined the NBA, I believe, in '98, who embraced Islam in our community. We used to go to San Jose State. Did anybody make it to the NBA from UCI? Probably not. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Bay Area representing. So, he, alhamdulillah, he embraced Islam while actually he was playing in college, and when he went to he was drafted by Sacramento Kings. Actually, his name was Olivier St. John, and he changed his name. He made sure that he changed it before he got into the NBA. That's not necessarily something we should do, but that's what. So he was the best player in the conference. 6'6", 220 pounds, very athletic. I don't know how many hours he spends in the gym. Just a comment, just subhanAllah, to take the hadith and see how it works for some people that not necessarily many of us will experience. He said, you know, he was telling a very close friend of mine, Wasim, you know, Wasim, and he's also a friend of mine. So he said, you know, guys, I spend so much time in the gym and stuff, but when I start praying, and you know, he did the ruku' and sujood, and he has to sit between the two sajdas, this is the best stretching exercise I've done for my thighs ever. صَلِّ فَإِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ شِفَاءٌ. Pray, there's a cure in salah. We do not know it. Another guy was in the UK, he had like some back problems and he needed to do some exercise. So he went to the doctor and he told him, a physical therapist and so on and so forth. So he's telling him, he was about to leave, he's like, okay, do this exercise, do this, that. So what's your name? It's Ahmad. Muslim, he goes, yes. I said, do you pray? I was like, pray, that's the kind of exercise you need really to help you out with that. That's what you need to do. صَلِّ فَإِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ شِفَاءٌ. Pray, there's cure. Some of the virtues we may not pay attention to, but there is that cure. How many of us sit in the computer for those, you know, maybe you might get carpal tunnel because you stay in such a position. You know, the physical therapist tells you that you need to move every once in a while so your body, you know, your joints, your muscles, and so. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu gave us this exercise 5 times a day that leave and move. We moved our hands, we move our joints, our knees, everything, almost, our head, right? There's a cure in it. There's virtues that we sometimes not necessarily pay attention to. Another virtue that's something to inshallah all of us can make use of. One of the statements of our beloved Prophet, he says, you know, think of a man who lives on a bank of a river, and he has to run errands 5 times a day. He has to leave his house 5 times a day, right? But there's no bridge, so he has to really cross. He has to through the water. What's known about rivers? It's not a standstill water; it's moving water, right? It's gushing towards one direction, right? So he says that this person goes. Run, you know, whatever he does, go to work, goes buy stuff, and comes back, And then he went there, so he has to cross that river that with flowing water. So he comes back and then he asks his friends, at the end of the